Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adventures with the Ethingtons. Today we actually started out at KP Hole on the Rainbow River in Dunnellon, Florida, and this ended up turning into a crazy kayak trip. This actually is going to be in two parts. The first part is mostly clear, a little bit of rain. What we weren't aware of is that a flash flood warning was about to be issued. A huge storm was brewing, and we got stuck in the middle of it while kayaking down the river. So hopefully this first portion gives you a pretty beautiful view of the Rainbow River. This is definitely one of our favorite spots to hit. It is absolutely stunning here. Some of the deepest parts, well over 20 feet, you can literally see all the way down to the bottom. It is the neatest thing I've ever seen. It's spring fed, so the water does stay at 72 degrees year round, which is fantastic because in the wintertime the water feels great and in the summertime the water feels great. So today we decided to take the kayaks out, and my husband Gary and myself got to just have a little bit of time out on the water with just the two of us. Right here is one of the views right next to the kayak of how clear this water is. And then going underwater, the clarity is unbelievable. Besides kayaking, this river is a blast to actually tube down. And one of the things I love about tubing down this river instead of kayaking sometimes is that you can actually hop out and end up snorkeling and swimming as you're going down the river. It's what we've done in the past, and it's a lot of fun. And there are so many fish and turtles. There's otters in this river. Side note, I did not know that otters actually were mean. They're super cute, but they're not very friendly. So just be careful if you encounter an otter. Don't try to make friends, or you may end up like Buddy the Elf and get attacked when he tried to give, what was it, a raccoon a hug? So where we launched from was KP Hole. It is $5 per person to launch from there if you have your own kayaks. They do have rentals available as well. It was kind of cool. This is the first time that we noticed they have lockers available there, which is kind of nice. They do have a swim area, so if you just want to go there and go for a swim, you can do that as well. But we actually have our own kayaks, so we took our kayaks out, and for $10 to see this kind of beauty and be just in the middle of nature is so worth it. So we ended up, it was a couple hours, I think, down the river. It's a pretty long run. KP Hole, you can actually, if you stay at the campground, which is even further up the river, it's even longer to get all the way down. But unfortunately today, what we were hoping would be kind of a leisurely stroll ended up turning into a quick hurry up and get down. That box that you just saw, those are kind of cool. They have block numbers on it to let people know where they're at. So it is kind of cool. That was something that I noticed this last time kayaking, even though we've been down this river so many times, but I've never noticed those before. So just like a lot of the other rivers in Florida, you do have tons of houses along the waterfront, and they range from, they can be large homes to, I saw quite a few tiny homes that are really cute, and they ended up using most of their, space as outdoor living space. So that is one of the things that also is pretty interesting, just to be able to see the differences in the buildings and the architecture and the styles and designs. Makes for a really nice trip down the river. So when you're going down Rainbow River, you actually have some options. You can either go to the free boat ramp that's across the street from Swampy's, and you can launch there. It's not difficult to actually kayak upriver. It would be probably much harder to tube up the river, obviously, but you can go there. That's free. You can park, you can launch your kayaks, do all of that for free. You can go to KP Hole. Like I said, it's $5 a person, Or you can also get one of the shuttles that are local to get you to drop you off at the tube run. And that's about halfway down. So from there, they drop you off and then you tube all the way down to the boat ramp, which is across the street from Swampy's on the bridge. I believe it's called Blue River Run. Could be wrong. I'll have to double check. But they actually will come pick you up after you're done as well. So that also is something that you can do if you've never been here. If you have never been to Rainbow River, I cannot suggest this place enough. You truly cannot understand how beautiful it is. Even the videos and the pictures, it just doesn't do it justice. Unless you're in the middle of it and you're seeing it yourself, it's so hard to describe and it's so hard to capture on video. Obviously, you know, you can get some video and some photos to kind of give you an idea, but you really just have to see it in person. It's amazing. This area, you definitely we'll be able to see otters, there's turtles, there's tons of fish out here, all kinds of different types of birds. Actually, later on in the video, on the next segment, which is us actually getting stuck in the storm and getting through the other half of Rainbow River, you'll actually see at one point this huge bird. I don't even remember what kind of bird it was, but he made a beeline for Gary and was coming straight at him. I was not sure if it was going to, like, you know, be a little delirious and hit him in his head or if it was just going to take off. But it's amazing what you can see out here. There are gators. They don't mess with people, but you definitely will see them. Actually, earlier on in the video, I was so bummed because there was a baby gator on the side with a bunch of turtles. And I went to get some video, but my phone overheated and it shut off. So right as I pulled up, it ended up shutting off and I didn't get the video. So bummer, but they're here. You do normally see them sunning. They blend in pretty well, so you kind of just have to pay attention, but they don't mess with people. There's so many people coming down this river. They just don't want to be around people. They'd rather be left alone. So is really cool to experience though and to see in person. Now, depending on what time you come, depending on the day, it can be really crowded on the river. We like to go on times where it's not as busy, just so that it's not so crowded with, you know, motorized boats that are on there and other kayakers and tubers. So it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to be around a ton of people, come on a weekend. Saturdays and Sundays are packed. There's tons of people tubing down. There's a lot of people in boats. There's a lot of people kayaking. There's people that just swim. If you want something that's a little bit more relaxing, a little more quiet, then just come during, you know, a weekday earlier in the morning and you'll be sure to enjoy the peace and quiet. Now, if you notice, those lovely clouds in front of us continued to build. When we first got there, it was so hot, super clear skies, absolutely beautiful. And this is just one of those things in Florida. You really do not know what the weather is supposed to be like. We weren't supposed to have anything crazy, but in Florida, it's bipolar. It does whatever it wants. So you just kind of have to roll with it and always be prepared. So this is the first time that first time kayaking that we've gotten stuck in a storm. We've hit a storm with, you know, thunder and that type of thing tubing before, but we were pretty close to the end. This time we were actually pretty far from the end and it was beginning to pour on us. It is cool that as you go down the river, you see people swimming. Everybody's very friendly. There were so many people, you know, that we just said hello to and they'd strike up a conversation while we were kayaking. So it's pretty common. It's a very laid back atmosphere in Dunnellon, especially going down the river. People are really nice. Even the people who live along the river, when they're outside or they're on their docks, they always wave, say hi. So that's one of the things that we really love about it. You know, we were well, I was born and raised in San Diego. My husband was born in Illinois, but then spent his whole life in San Diego. And that was one of the things, you know, that just reminds me so much of back there. It's just the kicked back attitude and people just being friendly and saying hi. You know, it's the same thing when you go to the beach. You just kind of strike up a conversation with the person next to you, and everybody's just super relaxed. And that's one of my favorite things about Dunnellon. Now, I know at the campsite on the Rainbow River, it is a state park. They have the best rates. It is not expensive at all to camp there. The facilities are really nice. The bathrooms are super clean. When we go camping sometime in the future, we'll go ahead and do a tour, kind of give you a rundown of the campsite and show you around and do a video on that with a review. But if you are looking for a place to stay that's a lot less money than maybe a hotel or, you know, renting an Airbnb, that campsite is a great campsite, and they do have kayak and canoe rentals there as well. I did find out that if you stay at the campground, you actually get to get into KP Hole for free, because that also is state run as well. So if you paid for a camping site at the campground, then you don't have to pay to launch on the other side at KP Hole. But there is a boat ramp and a launch area where you can launch at the campground as well. If you go up past the campground, when you launch there, if you were to go to the right, that area up above, even further up the river, is unbelievable. Now, to your left, where you saw the little dock area, that is the tubing entrance and exit for people to either go up there. If they start off at KP Hole and they parked at the tubing entrance, then you can get out, or people who are just starting can park and then get in the river and come down if they don't want to do the shuttle. So that also is an option, which is really nice to have depending on what your transportation is, because if it's just two people, obviously you've got one car, so it makes it a little bit easier to be able to do it that way. So we're coming up to the end of this video because we are about to get stuck in a crazy storm. In just a little bit, it actually, I mean, right now in the video, it's starting to drizzle, but that's about it. But in a few minutes, it is going to get crazy. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, especially the underwater footage. This whole area, the video that I took earlier where it shows the side and underwater, that's how clear this whole river is. It is pristine and beautiful and clean. This trip, I didn't see any trash anywhere. Didn't see any bottles in the river, didn't see anything washed up on the sides. It really is just a beautiful place to come visit. And you definitely want to put Rainbow River in Dunnellon, Florida on your bucket list, because this is one of a kind place. So please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments where you guys like to kayak, where you think in Florida is a good place for us to go visit and do a video on. And then also make sure that you hit the subscribe and then check the little bell so that you can get notified when we upload new videos. But thanks for coming along with us today, and stay tuned for part 2 where you see the storm hit.